Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in thy sight, O Lord, my strength and my Redeemer. It is good to experience the quiet ministry of the living Spirit of the living God. Again and again there are the little healings of silent breaches which sustain us in our contacts with the world and with one another. We are stunned sometimes by the little word, the unexpected silence, the smile off key, without quite knowing how. The balance is recovered and the rhythm of the hurt is stopped in its place. There is the sense of estrangement which overtakes the happiest human relations, and the experience of recovery that makes the heart sing its old song with a new lilt. There are days when everything seems difficult, when the ordinary tasks become major undertakings, when one is sensitive and every moment is threatened by an explosion that does not quite come to pass. Then, without apparent cause, the whole picture changes, and the spirit can breathe again with ease. The spring in the step comes back again. It is good to experience the quiet ministry of the living Spirit of the living God. Sometimes we are catapulted into disaster with a suddenness that paralyzes the mind and leaves the exposure to fear unshielded by courage or by strength. If there had been some warning, some intimation of what was to come, the wisdom of the years could have buttressed the life with a measured protection. But no, this was not the case. Often, even before the full awareness of what has taken place can be felt, the realignment of one's powers begins to work and recovery is on the way. There are problems that meet us head-on in our journey. The issue of our spirit and the thing that confronts is joined. We are engulfed in the great silence of faithful struggle. It seems that nowhere, in no place, can an answer be found. In vain we seek a clue, a key, even a little thing, to give a fleeting respite, a second wind. Again and again it is apt to happen, the miracle of relief, a chance word from a casual conversation, a sentiment or a line in a letter, the refrain of an old song, an image from the past, a paragraph from a printed page, a stirring of prayer in the heart, the miracle of relief, and we are released, the danger is past, the conflict is over. It is good, so very, very good, to experience the quiet ministry of the living Spirit of the living God. We thank thee, our Father, that thou hast not left us alone in the living of our lives. For us this is so, not because we are worthy or unworthy, because we are good or because we are bad, but because we are thy children. We rejoice that through all the vicissitudes of our lives, thou dost commune with thyself through us, and even the travel of our souls leaves us unafraid. The prophet Jeremiah, in an effort to give full-orbed expression both to one of the central problems of his life and to the grounds of his confidence, has these words to say: "A curse on him who relies on man, who depends upon mere human aid. For he is like some desert scrub that never thrives, set in a solitary place in the steppes. But to be congratulated, excuse me, is the man who relies on God, who has God for his confidence, for he is like a tree planted beside a stream, sending his roots down to the water. He has no fear of scorching heat. His leaves are always green. He goes on bearing fruit when all around him is barren. And he looks out on life with quiet eyes. It is a perfectly natural and human experience to be dependent upon the tangible things by which we are surrounded. We need people, we need things, we relate to the concrete because there is a thisness and thatness about that which is concrete. It is visible, it is at hand, it can be felt and touched, it can be related to. One has a sense of being surrounded by something that will sustain and hold and keep. I think this is one of the reasons why there is what seems again and again to be a fierce attachment of the personality or of the person to things. There is something about things, about the concreteness of things that seems to defy all of the operation of impersonal forces by which our lives are surrounded. So that we sometimes think that if somehow we can become one with something that is concrete, a person, a thing, then this at oneness with that which is concrete seems to give to us a sense of emotional stability. Now, this is a very deceptive thing because the deepest needs that we have cannot ever quite be fulfilled by things and how we relate to them. Now, this is not to say at all that things are not relevant to the human predicament and to human needs. It is to say, however, that the dependence upon things must of necessity be a limited dependence. Things must not be required to do what in the nature of the case things cannot do. It is for this reason, I think, that again and again we find people who are surrounded by all the creature needs that they can possibly imagine themselves desiring. And yet, in the midst of this abundance, this great accumulation of things, there is a deep and abiding restlessness and hunger. Again and again, we are like the little boy on Christmas morning who has 2 drums and 5 horns and all of the things that he needs. And in the midst of all of these things, he sits down and weeps because there is a need which he has, perhaps for the smile of his father, perhaps for a tender word from his mother, something that cannot be expressed in these ways. Now, this is good and right and true and valid because it says that there is an aspect of our lives, a dimension of our lives that calls for something more spiritual, more profoundly significant to the deepest things in us. And it is the insistence of religion that this is what God gives to the human spirit. Not merely, you see, in terms that are theological, in terms that are overwhelming, but in the simple processes of living, the life is shored up and surrounded in many, many ways by this living, moving, searching spirit of the living God. Therefore, when the heart hungers most profoundly for that which gives to the individual an abiding sense of emotional security and well-being, the focus of the heart must be on that which transcends time and space and circumstance and remains valid and true. To cultivate this is the art not only of spiritual growth, but it is in essence the heart of living. It is for this reason, I think, that the prophet Jeremiah says, "A curse on him who relies on man, who depends upon mere human aid, for he is like some desert scrub that never thrives, set in a solitary place in the steppes. But happy is he who relies on God, who has God for his confidence, for he is like a tree planted beside a stream, sending his roots down to the water. His leaves are always green. He goes on bearing fruit when all around him is barren. And he looks out on life with quiet eyes." Do you? Do you? I wonder. Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in thy sight, O Lord, my rock and my redeemer.